Top of the morning, people. Father Paul here again. Hope you guys doing good. So, I was thinking, I started out watching Jamaica 411's video on this whole business of, saying that the IC is disorganized and messy. I think that was what you said. And I thought about it for a minute, and then I said, you know what? How about look at this thing another way? Cause I I spent some time growing up in the country. When you grow up in the country, very much different from town people. You hear a lot of they call Jamaican proverbs. Sayings, and people, I guess, saying something and not saying it out really. And there's this saying that I used to hear: "Play a fool to forget your wise." Very much like what is going on to the north, north of Jamaica. Playing fool to catch wise. That is the way I view that. Because, in all honesty, I refuse to believe that people are that stupid. I believe that people can be very blatant, have total disregard for rules and regulations. But I also believe that, and in that case, that they just blatantly do what they're doing, like in your face. But then there's this other side of those who are playing to the crowd, and what you see them doing is not really what they're about. Point in question: all this whole heap of things that happening in the PMP, showing as if though there is this massive infighting and so on. Like one of the things I was saying in the previous video, voice note type thing, that to change the leadership in the PMP is not going to change the PMP. And for the people clamoring for the change, it kind of takes us back to the way Jamaican politics occurred for decades, where we put in the PMP, then we put in the JLP, we put in the PMP, and as a result, what you end up with is stagnation. There's nobody is continuing any good project. Looking at the project and realizing that this project has potential. But the only way you keep something is if you see where you can. NHT. NHT is a good thing, man. Why? What is it doing? NHT is taking money from PAYE and businesses, and it's a stash of cash that the government at any time can draw down on, and it become a football. Why are you taking from the NHT? This kind of back and forth thing. Or you see another thing and you say, NIS, syntax. But then when you know, but you in the back of your mind, you say, yeah, this is one more way we're taking from the people, and as government, we can use it to do whatever, when it's our time. But in terms of continuity, in terms of project, how projects work and so on. We take over something and we rename it and call it something different and get rid of all the people who are there and put in our people and everybody, and you start at zero. One step forward, two steps backward. Remember that song then? Yeah, man. One step forward, two steps backward. Yeah. You're not going nowhere. You're actually in reverse. Right? So many times there's also this comparison of, well, not really a comparison, but I would say comparison, where we look at Singapore and we say, boy, so Singapore, man come at Jamaica and him see the plan we have and him take it and him carry it back. But he made one modification. The modification was that he talked to the people and said, listen, now, in order for this to work, we can't do this back and forth thing. It's like Dr. Ralph Gonzalez from St. Vincent and the Grenadines said, and it was so funny, I have scoured the internet and I cannot find that recording again, where he was stating that the only interest that the opposition have in government is to become the government. No matter what you tell, you see them get up and say, yes, we agree with this thing and whatever, in the back of their minds. And this is because of the nature of our form of government. This Westminster style. The opposition has no power except to harass a government out of office. And as you can see, if you dare to watch anything else besides what's going on in Jamaica, see, the beauty about this day and age, Information is at our fingertips. Everybody have a smartphone. So everybody can see what's going on in the rest of the world. When something happens in the rest of the world, we know right away. Right away. Because everybody is a journalist. Everybody a capture video and everybody a blast it around the internet, and before you know it, it go viral. So if you look at the UK, 7 prime ministers in 10 years. And why that is able to happen? Because all they need to do is basically have a no confidence in the prime minister, and then they have a leadership challenge. And in a sense, it's not even no longer a challenge, because what the prime minister has to resign because of the no confidence. And somebody else in the party who think that they're smarter, I wonder to myself, I should really check it out. Do all of these people who have become ex-prime minister in the UK, do they now collect a former prime minister's salary and pension? And is it like in Jamaica, where the former prime ministers, their salary is linked to that of the current prime minister, so whatever he gets, they get? Interesting. So here it is, the UK is carrying 7. Well, 6 so far. It will be carrying, 6, the salary of 6 prime ministers. And not really getting value for money. Because everybody just come in, get the title, and then pick up the former prime minister, the salary. I must check it out to see if it works the same as in Jamaica. But I know you may be thinking I'm digressing. I am thinking to myself that this whole business that's going on in the PNP might be playing fool to catch wise. Because while we are busy thinking that, oh, there's infighting, they may actually be plotting. Because their thing seems to be still trying to pull off what they did with Bruce Golding and Andrew Holness, which is run him out of office. You want to put him under so much pressure that he does what Bruce did, which is resign. And get a start from scratch. What they didn't bank on is that the Prime Minister have this thing that my mother used to say, stickitivity. The Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, has stickitivity. He does not shirk from the task. He has a mandate. So why should he shirk from the task? He's duly elected by the people. And unlike the stupidness that you hear coming out of the PMP, acting as if though they won something on September 3rd, 2025, they didn't win anything. I've said it before. All the seats that the PMP got in 2025 were the seats that they previously had. And they sabotaged. Why did they do the sabotage? They sabotaged it because they fed Peter Phillips bad information using the same Dan Anderson polls to show him that he was going to have a landslide victory in 2020 and cause him to put his foot in his mouth by saying, well, if I don't win, I will resign. Huh? They set him up because that was the only way they could have gotten the leadership. And like I've said before, while they were so busy destabilizing the party, the chief instigator, very much like that French defender, lost sight of the forward from Spain, and as a result created the opportunity for Spain to get their first goal by committing the foul in the box. And despite what everybody is saying, the records are there to show that the referees have been consistent in making that call. So what they did was they tricked Peter Phillips into believing that he was going to win by a landslide. And you really couldn't blame the guy for thinking that. Why? because at the time the JLP only had like about 3, no more than probably 4 seats majority. When they initially won in 2016, it was a 1 seat. And because of different things that happened, you know, people died and different situations, they ended up, the PMP refused to basically contest the they did contest the by-election with Egdred and Action and come here said I can't do Cliff Hughes that them call him now Egdred. But I wonder if many people remember what was happening. That Peter Bunting went to Portland to campaign with Damien Crawford and was busy handing out shirts with his face on it. So the guy lose. The guy lose. So back to what I was saying about how the chief instigator of the takeover of the PMP found himself without a seat. And because he was without a seat, he had to draft for the backup plan, which was never really contemplated. And the backup plan was Mark Golding running for leadership. Now, because of the whole sordid affair and because Peter Bunting doesn't really, on all the things that have come out since then, Peter Bunting may not see himself as being a viable leader. And so he's not going to, or it does not appear that he's going to run for leadership. And then, whereas they could have, had they kept the delegate system in place, could have probably paid off enough delegates to make Peter Bunting the leader. But they changed that whole system and said now that everybody who's a member of the PMP can now vote in that leadership challenge. So in a sense, they built their own little box of bricks. And they're stuck with that system. They also changed the whole thing of how often they vote for leader and all of that. So it's 2027 before there'll be that leadership challenge. But the Egdred set up himself. So the mutterings and the grapevine is saying we haven't heard the Egdred come out and declare anything. But all of this thing that they say is going on in the PMP with Dwayne Vaz and all these other people, like they rallying round. But as long as the Egdred remember, you know, that this is a kind of like a Brutus and Caesar business, you know. Watch your back, Damien. Watch your back. Because them guys are will knife you. Yeah, man. Watch out for the shifts. And the file down toothbrush. And the sharpened sparks. Watch out for them. There's another saying I grew up hearing: the higher monkey climb, the more you expose. Sometimes, if you just reach a level and just settle. Ambition is a hell of a thing. Ambition many times will expose a guy. And if I were like the egg dread, all them people that push you to run, I done them one, done you. Can you see? From my perspective, just looking on, many people probably just see as a useful idiot. You look like you can get the voters to come out and vote for you. But let us not forget, time and time again, we have heard many a proposal coming from Damian Crawford. And the proposals don't amount to much. They don't amount to much. Because I don't know him doing egg business. I hear him successful in the egg business, but I mean, you know, the egg business is a different business, yeah. And politics is a completely different thing. This idea that you can, you know, use the same strategies as business don't really work. See, that's what the problem they have in the north. In the north, the guy who's running things is not a politician. So you see, when him have the handle, nah, let go that, you know, and have no plans to give it up. And which is why the opposition in the north is ineffective. Because they're always considering, well, I'm not go too hard on this guy now, because at some point in time, you know, we might have the handle today, but again, another Jamaican saying, today for me, tomorrow for you. And so as long as you operate in that frame of mind, you're not going to done a situation when you have the opportunity. You're not going to kick a man when he's down. Which is the reason why many of these bastards who, and this might be offensive to some, but many of these bastards who, when them drop out, you're supposed to really burn the body. And the Bible them say this, you know. You burn the body, you crush up the boat, crush up the ashes, and you disperse it, throw it in the wind. Because you never want that person there, that group of people there, to forward again. No resurrection for them. By a Bible, you go read a Bible. And then the instruction them get for deal with wicked people. Not pet and powder them and talk all kind of niceties when them drop out. Because them never mean nobody no good. Them was all for themselves. And if them rise from the grave, they would be no different than what they're doing. But a word to the wise is sufficient, and so. Of course, in recent times, I've been questioning that and realizing that maybe a word to the wise, but the wise are few. So, yeah, as we go and look at this thing, I don't get too excited over these people and them little infighting, because that may all be just a show. Because the underlying plan is that the opposition has only one desire, and that is to become government. Why? Because it's only government can spend money, only government have access to the coffers. Yeah. But I must say that the JLP has made a number of changes in the whole structure of government that it would be a shock to them when they get into government, what they can do and what they cannot do. For instance, the former Minister of Finance, Nigel Clark, lock up the Bank of Jamaica in our vault. And so no Minister of Finance, I don't care which side him come from, can just tell the governor of the Bank of Jamaica for do X or for do Y. That's the first thing. The second thing in the public service is that in order for you to get appointed to any board, you must have the competencies. Those are the new rules. You must have the competencies to sit on that board. And no more friend for business. No more long service award where after you're done because, okay, so you did lose your seat or you never did win your seat. And no, but because we win, yeah, see a reward, you go sit down on the board, yeah, go cheer this board and go and eat a food. Yeah, all of that done. You have to probably the competencies are necessary for you to sit on a board now. Second, the third thing is that not only the competencies, but I believe, and I stand to be corrected, it's like a 5-year period. You need to be out of the politics for at least 5 years before you can be put on any board. Yeah. And this is part of the fear that the longer the JLP remain in power, is the more they tighten up the thing. And the tight thing now gonna work for the PNP. Because PNP operate fast and loose. Left up to the PNP when Beryl or Melissa or even COVID did come through. Would have did suck salt through a wooden spoon. Not even wooden, I should have said a metal spoon, which means you're now get no salt at all. Because they run with it mentality. Lego the thing, free up the thing. Yeah. So, and them things there bubble up in my mind, you know. Till the next reasoning. Father Power out.